Whispers.
Now, I've talked before about how there's been a lot of Pokemon that I've wanted to use in like a legitimate playthrough of any Pokemon game, but I haven't really had the chance to do so based on a different criteria, I guess. One of those Pokemon being Hydreigon. I really want to use them. They look really cool. They are like fan favorite type of things, so whatever, but they still look pretty cool. But in their introductory generation of Generation 5, it takes a long time to get a hold of either a Dino or a Zwelos in order to get to a Hydreigon. But I decided to kind of bend some rules a little bit, and I decided to basically breed Dino in a separate game. I think it was like Black 2 or something like that. But anyways, I bred a Dino, and then I transferred it over into a fresh playthrough of Generation 5 Pokemon White. And I decided to play through the game with it. Even though it was traded, so it was kind of getting boosted levels here and there. But I still managed pretty good, and I was having a good time. Now, the thing about me, though, is that in order to finish out a Pokemon game, I want like my team at their fullest power that they can be, not like level 100, but like everyone fully evolved, and blah, blah, blah. Now, a problem with that, though, was that because Pokemon White at the time was the generation I played through the least amount of times, and I didn't really do much research going back into playing the game, I just kind of knew I had like a set team prepared. I didn't remember how late it was for Zwelos to evolve into a Hydreigon, nor did I realize how tough Ghetsis was at the end of the game. I remembered him being a really tough fight when I first played through my very first go-around. So I thought that I had some room to maneuver with, but anywho. So I get to the Elite Four, and I'm checking my teams, and my Zwelos isn't involved. Everyone else is like at a decent level, but I thought I needed to be stronger. And in order to get Hydreigon, I was just like, oh man, okay, there's a lot of training I gotta do. So I started training Victory Road. So Victory Road at that time had Heatmores, Durants, and other Zwelos if you're lucky to find them. And Durants were usually the ones that got the most experience out of it. If you're lucky to get a Zwelos, they also gave you a good chunk of experience. Now, although I did give it a lucky egg, and it was traded, so it was getting some boosted experience all throughout. But I didn't stop it from taking a long time to evolve. Now, when I was going through it, I only thought that it had to be like somewhere in the mid-50s in order to evolve. And this was already like late at night already, so this was a weird time to be doing it. But regardless, I started training. I was going. I got to like level... It started at level 52 and I was expecting it to evolve, but it didn't. Then 53, 54, 55, 56. And I was just like playing through like, I might need to search this up. So I did. And it was level 64, if I'm remembering correctly. 64 in order to evolve from a Zwelos to a Hydreigon. Now, first signs of things going wrong should have been that, it's 64 to do it. That's a lot of levels. But I remember Ghetsis having a Hydreigon that was probably the toughest Pokemon to fight against. And I didn't know that Ghetsis was part of the Team Rocket conspiracy to use the Lake of Rage to evolve their Pokemon early. I didn't know about it, or at least I forgot about it. So I was like, well, if I need to get 64 to Hydreigon and have a fair fight, I guess I gotta get the 64 to have a fair fight. So that was a long night. I It's at this point it was about it was about 11 o'clock, so give or take. I'm remembering poorly, but I do know my end time. My end time was 5 o'clock by the time I got Zwelos to evolve into a High Dragon, and by the time I started doing the Elite Four. Like, it was already starting to get light out, and I was like, I was kind of looking outside my window like, oh, fuck, what did I do? But yeah, so it was a good thing I didn't have to work the next day. That's kind of the reason why I kept going like that. But yeah, no, it took a long time to get the experience I needed. And I started doing the Elite Four, and High Dragon was just steamrolling through everything. And I was starting to get a little bit worried. I knew that the Elite Four were much lower in levels compared to the difficulty of N and especially Getsus. But then I got to N, and it was just like, I got this legendary Pokemon. Ha. High Dragon. Dead. And then Getsus came, and I literally took him down with only High Dragon the entire fight. And I felt no satisfaction from it because it was so easy. High Dragon had every tool imaginable used in order to defeat everything. Maybe against Cofagrigus I swapped out for something. I think that's the only one, if there ever was, something I swapped out on. I just remembered I was really tired afterwards. Yeah, so that was probably the hardest I've ever grinded in order to get a Pokemon that I've never used before. Now, I would like to use that method again to get something like a Milotic later on, since I really don't want to have to try to go through the effort of finding a Feebas in the most like mundane method possible from like Generation 3 and 4 for the most part. But anywho, next time I'll have to kind of do a bit more research before I start going so heavy on trying to level up my Pokemon in case I make the game a little too easy. But anywho, that's all I can say to that one, at least. So, oh well, at least I got an overpowered Pokemon that let me do the post-game story a little bit easier. But regardless, thank you all so much for watching, and have a happy holidays.